starting this riding lesson with Samson. We kind of did our warm-up. We did a little Roundpen lesson, kind of helping him to relax and connect more with me. And now I just barely got in the saddle. He's still breathing pretty heavy. But what I'm wanting to check for is, can Samson just stand here right with me in the saddle? And he needs a little more kind of relaxed time. So I just want to see if we can sit here and let him just be relaxed. But in doing that, I want to just ask his head and neck around to the side, because if doing this activates his feet, then he's, anxious, nervous, flee mode. So here he goes on this side. Right, but if I can bend his head and neck around to the side, I want him to be able to hold still, and he can't. So I'm just going to hang out with this until he can. As soon as his feet relax and hold still, I'm going to release. I want him to be able to just stand here and not be triggery about let's go. Meaning, he's anxious, nervous, stressed, wanting to go, versus me giving him a cue. So these are triggers, right? If he's got some stress triggers that are going to trigger his feet into moving, I want to release the triggers, right? I want to go in and build some new neural networks, release the trigger so that I can build the cue. So I'm just wanting to make sure we're comfortable to hold still before I ask him to go. Because if his mind is in go mode, right, and he's just anxiously sitting here, just kind of trying to move his feet to relieve his anxiety, then everything I do with him moving his feet, he's anxious. So I want to keep things as relaxed as I can before I even ask him to move his feet. Like, can he stand here and be relaxed? He can stand here. The relaxed part, right, is questionable. This is really good for Samson. Oh boy. Now, in our last lesson, Samson was a little triggery about my training stick touching him on the shoulders or on the rump, basically touching him anywhere. So what I'm going to review with him right now is just see if he can stand still while my tools touch him. Because if those are reactions that trigger him into moving, then we got to down-regulate the triggers and build the cues. So I'm going to just start touching him, and we'll just see, what does he do? Ooh, there's a trigger. He just kind of bumped his head up. I'm just seeing, does he want to move? Hey, I love it. We couldn't do that on the last lesson. As soon as I touched him, he was like, yeah, I think I should go. So now I think that built a little bit of tension. Can we bend our head and neck to the side and not move? Stay here. Good, we got licking and chewing. See, I want his autonomic system soft and quiet, not triggered and anxious. Good boy. All right, he can hold his feet still. Let's go back to touching a little bit. Good boy, can he handle this thing touching him? Nice. All right, we're ahead of what we had in our last lesson. So now what I'm going to do is just ask him to walk. So I'm not going to drive. I don't really care where he goes. I'm just going to ask him to walk, and let's just see if we can get a walk. Or does his system say, I'm too worried, I need to trot? So I'm just looking for a nice, easy walk. It's really hard for an anxious horse to walk. They either want to trot or stop. You notice he tried to stop twice. That's just the anxiousness. He's like, man, I know there's a release in stopping, but I want him to find that there's a release in walking, that he can just walk and let this pressure just relax himself a little bit. Good boy. Walk here just a little bit. I want to see, is he going to stay at the walk? Because I'm not asking for a trot. Oh, here it comes. Okay, so now we're going to trot. All right, back to the walk. I like that he come down and found that walk. I want the walk right now to be the rest and relax period. Trust me, Samson, we'll do some trotting and some cantering. The walk is going to be the feel good. So now that we're walking, I'm going to start touching him with this training stick Oh, and there it triggered him up. So now this touch is just going to stay touching him until he can come back to the walk. All right, now he's really overworking, and I'm just going to let him for a little bit. So I want to keep my training stick, you know, a nice little rhythm here. Shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip. And he's just got to turn that off. That he's triggering off of that. So his old neural network is firing here off of just being touched. So we're going to let that worry work. So when he drops to the trot, I'll take the touch away. There, he's trotting. Can he take it even lower and get to the walk? There we go. Now he did all of that. That was him seeking out the answer, right? Because his anxiousness, his worry turned into work. And Samson's a smart horse. He's like, I don't want to work that hard. So we're back to the walk, right? The walk for this moment is our rest and relax. So I'm just going to ask, just keep him walking. Oh, he almost went to the trot, so he's trying hard to walk. And then in a moment, I'm going to bring this stick back in, touching, and see if that triggers him back up. Because if my tools, when they touch him, trigger him, I'm going to have a difficult, sweaty, frustrating time trying to teach him cues with my tools if they are triggering his autonomic system into flight mode. So we got to turn those, we got to deactivate those triggers and build in cues. So right now we're going to deactivate those triggers. So we're walking pretty good. Here comes my training stick again, just touching. Okay, we're at the trot, and I'm going to keep touching. Oh, he went to the walk, and the touch goes away. Hey, Samson's trying to learn. It's amazing how quickly the learning can come into play. You know, we're trying to get the right chemicals going on here, a lot of dopamine and serotonin, right? We're trying to stay relaxed, getting him to choose down instead of allowing the upregulation. I keep walking. Walking's our rest and relax. Good boy. All right, here comes my, I'm going to bring my tool back in and just move it around out here in the air. Good, that's not triggering him. Touch the shoulder, touch the hip. Touch the shoulder, touch the hip. Ooh, look at him stay at that walk. Good boy. Great, I'm going to take it away before he trots. Because right, it touched him 6, 7, 8 times, 4, 5, whatever, and he didn't trot. That's what I'm asking for. I want him to turn off the trigger of touch from this tool that tells him he needs to flee. Here we go again. Let's add our touch in. Oh, we're going to go up to the trot. That's okay. I'm just going to keep my touch until he can bring it back down. Here it comes. Here's our walk. Take it away. See, so Samson's negotiating with his own calorie burn, right? His own self-preservation, saying, holy cow, I can't, you know, trot off and canter off every time I get touched. It takes too much energy, too much calorie burn in a sense. So I'm just wanting him to relax to that touch. All right, here we go. We're going to touch the shoulders again and the hip. Shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip. Look how hard he's trying to walk. I'm going to stay with it for a little bit here and really ask him to earn this. Good boy. All right, we've almost made a whole lap with this touch without it triggering him up to the trot. Great, I'm going to take that away. Okay, that was a fantastic down regulation neuro exercise for Samson. Right at first, let's just review before I switch sides. We first started this, the touch triggered him all the way to the canter. And then we had to break it down from canter to trot. And then trot to walk. And then walk and walk. So we went through all 3 gates but we got Samson to do all the work, right? You didn't see me pick the reins up not one time to tell him to slow down. I want his autonomic system to figure this out. This is a neuro exercise. This is going to become his neural programming, that he'll only trot when he's asked to trot, not because something touches him. All right, we're going to go the other direction. So here, let's go this way. All right, we're going to come over here and set up our same task, except I'm going to have to keep him going left. So let's work on that for a minute, because he may struggle to go left. See, he's only using, you know, a third of this round pen because he wants to be down there with his stablemate. All right, we're triggered up to the trot. I'm just going to wait for him to come to the walk. Good boy. I want to wait and see if he can kind of use this whole round pen, meaning can his mind get off of these other horses and he can get more in here in the round pen with me. All right, so that's a little better. So I'm gonna start touching again, and we'll just see, does this trigger? Sure enough, we're up to the trot. Now I'm just gonna keep him going left and keep that rhythmic touch. All right, he's gonna go up to the canter. Fair enough. That just means he's worrying more, which means he'll need to work a little more before he can turn this off, so that's okay. I get paid by the hour. He can take as long as he wants. But what I'm going to wait for is for him to drop down to the trot, and then I'll take this away and let him walk and just walk it off. But we're going to keep walking. Nice. See how quick he shut that down? That was fantastic. We're going to keep walking. We're going to keep walking left. Good boy. I'm just using my hands to guide his face because I don't want to pick the reins up, and I just want him figuring out what I feel like. And I want him to feel like I feel like going left. Good boy. And then I'm going to go back to this touch. Can he handle the touch? Oh, he's trying so hard. Look how hard he's not trotting. I love it, taking it away. That was a win. Nice work, Samson. Good boy. Stay walking. All right, we're just going to keep touching and see if he can stay walking. Okay. Let's see if I can get a stop here. Exhale. Oh, yes, and we're lined up for the camera. Couldn't have done that any better, Samson. And you can look at his stablemates right there. So, take what you can, right? Little review, and this has been a neuro exercise to release or rewire his touch sensitivity, meaning he was very sensitive to the touch, that if my training stick touched him, he felt threatened, cautious, anxious, upregulated, and off he went. That's not going to be valuable if I'm trying to reinforce my cues with my training stick, that when my training stick touches him, if that triggers him, we're not learning. So in order for Samson to have some learning, I got to get the triggers diffused, right? They got to be out of the way, and then we can start building some cues. So Samson right there had some great neuro exercises on his sensitivity to touch, that was triggering him. And did you see how he had to downregulate himself? He had to self-regulate, meaning Samson slowed down from the canter to the trot and the trot to the walk. He did that at his own seeking, meaning he found that, he looked for it. When horses seek out, when they find the answer, that's the learning, is they're emotionally balanced, they're emotionally seeking their mental relief. And then the neurochemicals will reinforce that. You saw how effective that was, right? A few laps in each direction, and he was like, okay, pause while we take a break here. Right, he got it figured out neurochemically really quickly. That's what we want to have. And then I can start going in with my training sticks and start reinforcing my cues, shoulder yields, hip yields, side pass, forward, backwards, stop, go. Because I can't have touch be triggering him into flee mode or we're not learning. So we're going to wrap right there on this.